Hello and welcome to Bespoke Unit. I'm CP and in this video I'm reviewing Bleu de Chanel. This review was conducted using the Bespoke Unit Fragrance Formula, a quantifiable review matrix that you can use at home. Simply look in the description below and you'll see a link which takes you to a guide which teaches you how to use it and provides you with blank PDF versions. Bleu de Chanel needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce it all the same. First released in 2010, the Eau de Parfum version that I'm holding followed in 2014, so take note that this review will be primarily based off the Eau de Parfum version. Both were created by Jacques Polge, the head perfumer for Chanel from 1978 until 2015. He first became known for Rive, Gauche for Yves Saint Laurent, which he created in 1970. However, during his time at Chanel, he also created Égoïste in 1990 as well as Allure in 1996. With all that being said, let's jump in and give this a try. So 2 sprays on the back of the hand, nice thick mist, but we'll get into that later. Bleu de Chanel's iconic opening consists of citrus contrasted against spice. The citrus is grapefruit and bergamot, the grapefruit being a zestier, bittersweet citrus fruit. Meanwhile, the bergamot is softer, slightly creamier as well. Meanwhile, the spices are coriander and pepper. Together, they produce kind of a minty accord, the pepper being a little bit more powerful, and this potency adds an added level of substance to the opening. Ginger then acts as a transitional note from the head to the heart, which is accompanied by jasmine and some creamy melon. When these start to fade, labdanum will start to rise, which is a herbal musk. This is accompanied then by some patchouli, which is quite earthy, olibanum, which is also known as myrrh, as well as some woody sandalwood. Overall, the base is quite musky, but it does have plenty of character, some oriental aspects, as well as woodiness. For those who are interested, the batch number for this Eau de Parfum version of Bleu de Chanel is 9202. As for its weight and strength, the sillage, projection and longevity are all excellent. It lasts for hours on the skin, but if you want to give it some extra performance, you might want to carry a travel atomizer along with you. Otherwise, the trail, the sillage, is going to be very long. The projection, the scent bubble, is quite wide, and the longevity, as I mentioned, lasts for quite a number of hours. Moving on to the seasonality, in this review you're going to hear a lot about how versatile Bleu de Chanel is for wearing, and indeed it can be worn throughout the year. It's perfectly adaptable for different seasons, and while it might be a little bit heavy, or at least the Eau de Parfum version will be a little bit heavy for summer, or maybe a little bit too refreshing for winter, it's going to perform valiantly throughout the entire calendar year, thanks to the combination of fresh, warm, spicy and citrus notes. Meanwhile, the third-party feedback for this fragrance seems to be basically roaring all around. It's a quote-unquote compliment monster. People love it. Just this morning, I was getting my hair cut and somebody told me that I smelled really good and it was the perfume that I was wearing was very nice. This is a fragrance that is well known for being universally adored by different people of many different generations. Although it went through a very popular period and was worn by many men, it hasn't really overstayed its welcome, nor has it become a victim of its success. Indeed, it's a fragrance that is still enjoyed today, and anyone who wears it will be, I wouldn't say appreciated, but will certainly be noticed. Anyway, I'm going to move on now to the impressions, which are the high-level usage thoughts. Well, in terms of age range, as I mentioned, this is a very universal fragrance. It can be worn by any man of any age. However, I put it down as 20 to 29 because I'd say this is the apex period of when you could wear it. But at the same time, it smells great on you in your 30s and your 40s. It won't feel out of place. It won't feel too youthful, nor would it feel too mature if you're in your late teens wearing it. Meanwhile, in terms of time of day, again, as I mentioned, this is a versatile fragrance. You could wear it as a daytime fragrance, you could wear it at night, or you could wear it in the evening. It will be effective in all of these occasions. Speaking of which, we're now going to talk about the occasions. This, I'd say, is more of a formal fragrance. This is a fragrance that would go very well with black tie. That being said, it's also a fantastic office for the fragrance, or it's even something you could wear casually, just going out on an evening out, or even going to do your Christmas shopping. This is a fragrance that you could wear for just about anything, anytime. I perhaps wouldn't wear it going to the beach or going out to do the shopping, but it's something I would certainly consider for going to the office if I've got an important meeting with a client or if I'm going out on a special occasion. And finally, in terms of masculinity, this is certainly a fragrance that you would generally consider as masculine. Indeed, it is quite powerful, it's very bold. Then again, I don't see any reason why a woman couldn't wear it. Nevertheless, I've noted the masculinity down as strong. And finally, this all leads us to the presentation. We're just going to talk about some of the attention to detail involved in its aesthetic. First of all, the bottle, very understated design. We have a simple sans serif font, Bleu de Chanel in the middle, Eau de Parfum if that's the case, and otherwise there's nothing else except for the Chanel logo on the top of the cap. I love the way the cap is attached. It uses a magnet which is hidden inside it, so it just attaches and fits securely on there. There's no clicking, there's no yanking, well, there is yanking, but there's no twisting or anything overly complicated. It's all simplicity, this understated elegance. In terms of the bottle, it looks almost black at first, but then when you shine it in the light, it glows a sort of bluish, almost indigo color. Some hints of purple as well. It's very deep and it kind of reflects the aura of the fragrance well. Moving on to the box is quite similar. Again, it looks black, but then when you look up close, it's more of a dark blue. It uses the exact same design otherwise, the same font, which is just embossed here with Bleu de Chanel written in the middle. It doesn't even have any visible logos except for the top. And then when it comes to the atomizer, it performs very, very well. Got a nice thin mist, quite wide dispersal, and it lands on the skin very gently. It's almost actually, one thing worth noting is that because it's so gentle, you feel like you're not applying a lot, and then you end up overspraying it. And there is a tendency with this fragrance to overspray quite easily. And finally, the value for money. Now, this is a difficult subject because Bleu de Chanel is well known for being quite expensive. Indeed, 100 ml of even the eau de toilette is about $120. It's quite a fair bit. I believe that it is worth it because it is such an exceptional fragrance, but indeed it is a designer fragrance, and therefore it makes you wonder, is it overpriced? Perhaps, but then again, if people are willing to pay that kind of money and they feel that it is certainly worth it given the experience it provides, then I'd argue that it gives you decent value. Indeed, it is worth bearing in mind that it's quite a pricey fragrance, maybe not compared to things like Creed's Aventus or Green Irish Tweed, but it's still, for a designer fragrance, quite expensive. And you have to kind of decide, is this something that you want to wear all the time, given the cost, or is this something you would prefer to reserve for special occasions? Otherwise, I believe that this is an exceptional fragrance. My wife gave me a bottle about 8 years ago. It was the first fragrance that she gave me, and I emptied it. And I'm delighted to have another bottle again. And in fact, it's barely changed since then. It offers overall the same experience. It hasn't been reformulated or altered in any discernible way. So it still offers you a fantastic experience. And as I mentioned earlier, it hasn't been overworn. It's not a victim of its own success. It's not like, for example, Paco Rabanne 1 million or even Creed Aventus, where it's getting a little boring now. This is a fragrance that I believe is going to be with us for a long time to come. That's all from me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and leave a comment below if you have any questions about Bleu de Chanel or any other fragrances that you'd like us to cover. Until the next video, head to bespokeunit.com and why don't you check out some of the other men's lifestyle subjects that we cover. I'm sure that there'll be something that you'll enjoy. Otherwise, it's a bye-bye from me, and take care.